50 weeks ago, I stood on this stage and told the folks assembled about a laundry list of the things that had been done to this campus since we opened. Archbishop Donahue, for whom this theater is named and was dedicated during his lifetime, built us a beautiful facility. But it wasn't complete. No school ever is when it first opens. And over those first 10 years, we added lights on baseball fields, soccer fields, put in visitors' bleachers, put an all-weather surface on a concrete track, added a lot of fly lines, projection system, all of the things to the theater. We made enhancements all over the place that totaled over that lifetime almost $2 million. Now, 50 weeks ago, we did the official launch of the first true capital campaign, because the small expenses, the things that we could do for the low hundreds of thousands of dollars, going up to $700,000 for the expansion of the field house, those days are over. For us to be able to continue to move forward, we now have to start tackling the much bigger projects. And that's what led to the launching of a capital campaign last year. You're going to hear more tonight about the things that we need to do in this campaign to keep the school moving forward, to keep us at the forefront of not just Catholic education in this community, but private education and education in general throughout this state and the Southeast. We need everyone's support to do that. And all I can say is, well, before I conclude, I do want to throw out one little footnote. On Thursday, the fire marshal came out here making his annual unannounced visit to make sure that we were completely compliant with all things regarding fire safety, making sure the alarm system was working, the sprinkler system was working. The fire extinguishers all had the proper pressure. All of the exits were clear so that in case we had a fire, we'd be able to get the 970 students and 111 faculty and staff out of here in the usual 90 seconds that we get when we do a fire drill. He came into my office angrier than I have ever seen him. He's the same fire marshal who's been here ever since this building opened, and I thought I was on my way to jail. And the reason is, the hallway behind me, the Fine Arts Hall, was so crammed with stuff that he said if you had any kind of emergency, the kids would not be able to get out in an orderly fashion and in a timely fashion if there was an emergency in this building. He said, you get that hallway cleared, and you get that hallway cleared now, or there is going to be a big problem within the school. I may have to shut you down. And as you hear about the things that we need for this capital campaign, one of the little things mentioned is a storage building that will have, and a workshop for our fine arts productions. And that is becoming a very critical need around here. But I'm not going to get into any more detail than that because you're going to hear all of that as we go through this presentation. All I can say is, this is the capital campaign. This is our moment. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Good evening. My name is Paul Cody, and Kathy and I are honored to chair the first ever Blessed Trinity Capital Campaign. Kathy and I have 4 children, 2 of which have already graduated from Blessed Trinity, a senior at the school right now, and a 6th grader at Queen of Angels that we hope will be attending Blessed Trinity in a couple years. Last year, we launched the campaign, and to date, we have received $2.2 million in pledges, $1.1 million in cash. While this represents 40% of our total $5.7 million goal, we still have a lot of work to do. Currently, we are $500,000 short of starting the first phase of our improvements to our campus. Last year represented the initial launch of a rocket ship. Through the efforts of many volunteers in the BT community, our rocket got off the ground. Tonight, we ignite the second stage of the campaign, and with the help of everybody in this theater, we will send the campaign into orbit.
I'd like to leave you with one final thought from our perspective. Blessed Trinity is much more than just a high school at which your students will spend 4 formidable years. Blessed Trinity is a community in the strongest sense of the word. Imagine your oldest child graduating from here and going off to college and coming home within a week and telling you that that was the wrong college, that that was the wrong major. Don't worry, it doesn't happen very often. But if it does, it's nice to know that it's not the end of the world. Blessed Trinity stood ready to help her get her applications back in and get her into the college and into the program that she wanted. And that was a great surprise, something that we didn't expect. Now, on a completely different note, imagine being at senior night, your kid's playing football. It's his last home football game at the Blessed Trinity Stadium. And he gets injured, and he's laying on the field. And they're bringing out the backboard. And around the back of the field, you can see the ambulance coming to get your kid. In that entire stadium, I could hear nothing but quiet. But as a mom, what I heard the loudest was prayers from every single person in this community. That's something that just doesn't exist everywhere, but it exists here. And it is what makes Blessed Trinity such a special place. Now, he ended up being fine, which is great, but it really left our family with a lasting impression of what a great place this is. And we have an opportunity now to do something for Blessed Trinity and to make it even better than what it is for our kids and for generations of kids to come. But we can't do it alone, and we need everyone's help. So I would ask that everyone just get on board and help us make this vision of the future of Blessed Trinity into a reality, because this is our moment.
Hi, I'm Chuck Oliver. I'm the Director of Development here. I was a parent back in 2000 when Frank talked about all the things that were happening at the school since then. I've seen all those. I now have a sophomore here, so I'm still invested in the community as a parent and obviously work here as well. So I've seen all the changes. This is a totally different campus than existed 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And it's because of all the hard work of people like you throughout the years. I want to thank our volunteers. If you didn't notice, we had a lot of people with leis on. So everybody that's a volunteer in the campaign, please stand up and let's give them all a big round of applause for all your hard work. Thank you very much. So, somebody asked me to tell everyone the leis that they're wearing we borrowed from the bookstore, and they do know that they still have the tags on the back of them, but we have to turn them back into the bookstore because we didn't want to have to pay for them, and we want to be good stewards. I want to tonight talk about for the folks that are new, that don't know about the Capital Campaign, I want to go through what all the projects within the campaign are, how they were prioritized, and the timeline for completion. 5 years ago, BT started a long-term strategic plan as part of its SACS accreditation, and we came up with a $22 million shopping list. If money were no object, what would we like to see on the campus? And there were $22 million worth of facilities that we would like to have, which over the next who knows how long, we hope those $22 million in projects do get completed. We did a feasibility study. Many of you probably participated in the feasibility study. And then we decided that given the age of the school, the maturity of the school, the number of alumni, 0, and the number of alumni families, that we probably could raise between $5 and $10 million. We decided as a school to shoot for the low end of that, and we said, okay, we want to do about $5 million. We then looked at the projects within the campaign that would have the biggest impact, and came up with a shopping list out of that $22 million of the things that would be the most impactful for the school. We used 3 basic priorities to determine which projects would be included in this campaign and which ones would be deferred to a later date. The first priority was it something that saves us money, expense reduction, or provides us revenue opportunities? The second priority was, is it something we currently don't have but need? And the third priority was, if it's an expansion of an existing facility, is it a facility that's going to impact a great number of students? We have a lot of needs on the campus, but those were the priorities that we established. So this is what the future campus of Blessed Trinity is going to look like after we do the $5 million campaign. And I'd like to go through them one by one. Overall of it is an endowment, establishment of an endowment. 10% of all the money raised will go into the endowment, and the endowment will be used to fund financial aid, campus ministry initiatives, and teacher development. Our faculty is really at the core of everything we do here at Blessed Trinity, and this will provide funds for our faculty to continue to enhance their education and give us the best quality faculty that we can have. The second and actual first project is going to be the turf installation. We want to replace the fields, which are now the football field, the baseball field, and what is now the soccer field, with artificial turf. That satisfies the first priority in that we spend almost $100,000 a year right now in maintenance on those fields. Our coaches tell us that there's great demand for the fields from clubs and organizations, particularly like soccer and lacrosse, that are in great demand for facilities, but we can't rent our facilities out right now because it would cause too much abuse to the grounds. So that was an easy one to put as number one because it's pretty much revenue neutral. The second one is a locker room / public restrooms / concession stand down by where the tennis courts are now. It's kind of embarrassing to have our state champion boys and girls tennis teams play, and schools from all over the state show up, know that we're a 5-time defending state champion, and say, where do we go to change? And our coaches have to say, well, that porta potty right there. So this is a very needed facility on that end of the campus because it'll impact tennis, it'll impact cross country, and most of all, that field down there and that facility will give us a dedicated lacrosse facility, which really doesn't exist anywhere else in the state, so we'll be happy to have that. The third is a fine arts workshop. As Frank told you, the fine arts materials are stored everywhere. I coach cross country and we run the trails all over the campus. And back behind the football stadium, I don't know if any of you have noticed it, but there's a big container bin back there. And the other day when we were running, all the fine arts kids had loaded up all the stuff from the play last week, and that's where that stuff for that play is stored, over behind the football field. So you can see it's not very convenient, and when our kids are preparing for productions and building the sets, they do it in the parking lot out here, and of course a big storm comes up and they have to run and bring them inside. So this is also a very needed facility. The expansion of the Ox Gym, those of you who have ever been in the Ox Gym, it was built really just way too small. The walls come right up to the court. It really can't be used for much other than PE. To have a game in there, because I've coached the feeder basketball here, and I can tell you, when you've got people running full speed and the walls are right up against the court, it's dangerous. So we will expand the Ox Gym to make it into two cross courts and one main full court, basically the same size as the existing gym. The other part of that, the other component of that is going to be, we're going to reconfigure the main gym so that you have 2 cross courts at any one time. Whoever designed the main gym originally didn't know anything about basketball, apparently, because every basketball facility in the world has a main court, and then you can play 2 cross courts. But we have the 2 cross courts going parallel to the main court, and they overlap each other. So we can't hold 2 practices at the same time. So that's what the campus is going to look like. Once all that is done. The time frame, we've been asked about the time frame. It's a 4-year campaign. We are about $500,000 short of starting on the turfing of the fields, which is the first component. We have selected vendors. We had bids this summer, which Catholic Construction Services is now going through. We have asked all those vendors. We've told them that by next summer, based on the pledges we currently have of $2.2 million, we will have the cash necessary to begin the fields next summer. But we're hoping that with a successful launch this fall, particularly with the new freshman class, and then we also have launched our alumni portion of the campaign this month, alumni families, we're hoping to bridge that gap, and we've told all the vendors to be ready to start as soon as they can, and they are. One of the questions that I've been asked is what's the difference between, oh, I contribute to BT. And then we get to talking about it, and it's an annual fund contribution. We have two really main funds that we have here right now, and that is our annual fund and now the capital campaign. The annual fund is exactly as the name implies. Every year, our tuition covers about 80% of our total budget, and we look for contributions from within our community to bridge that gap. And we ask for that every year. So the annual fund is necessary to help us meet our budget goals every year. But the capital campaign is to expand facilities. And so pledges can be made over a 4-year period, well, now 3 years. So we would ask that everyone become involved in the capital campaign, but also continue to support the annual fund, because we need that to meet this year's budget's needs. Last year when we kicked off the campaign, we had a really nice video prepared by Tony DiMartino, the Titan Agency, and I'd like to go ahead and show that to you now.
Blessed Trinity has had a great first 10 years. We've won 21 state championships. Our fine arts program has put on great productions. The academics and spiritual life programs have grown tremendously. But one area where we really have fallen behind is in the facilities. And that's where we need your support.
This is our time. This is our moment.
Let's do it. Let's make this facility first class. And remember, not only are you helping the present, but you're helping thousands of future Titans who will come through this school through the growth of the endowment fund and facilities in our school.
1, 2, 3.
Blessed Trinity is getting ready to kick off a $5.6 million capital campaign, and we need you to give. With the capital campaign, we will be able to actually have a dedicated first-class lacrosse facility, and I can only imagine what we'll be able to do playing on a full field and practicing on a full field.
We've got a great fine arts program here at Blessed Trinity. The one thing we're missing is a workshop and a storage facility so we can build our sets indoors and get our kids in out of the elements.
Install artificial turf on the baseball field. It's a no-brainer for us. It means more time on the field because we get hit by the weather, whether it's too rainy or too dry or whatever. We have to make adjustments based on the weather. And also field upkeep for a baseball field is very expensive. We spend around $70,000 a year just maintaining the field.
We're going to expand the auxiliary gym to add 2 new cross courts. We're going to build 2 new locker rooms and coaches' offices. And we're going to reorient the main gym to increase capacity for all BT teams and programs.
came to Blessed Trinity because this is a great school and it has outstanding programs, but honestly, our facilities aren't great. We'd like to install a new artificial turf field in the stadiums for both football and soccer.
We need your help.
This is your time to help.
This is our time. This is our moment.
We have a great school, but when you see the facilities at schools like Greater Atlanta Christian, Westminster, Lovett, even Marist, we fall woefully short. We need to rally together. We need the whole BT community to rise up and make a difference. This is our time. This is our moment.
Whose time is it? Our time. Whose moment is it? Our moment.
I hope everybody enjoyed that. I'd like to thank Tony DiMartino and the Titan Agency once again. They produced not only the video, but all of our marketing materials that you've seen so far, and it was at no cost to the school, so every contribution that's made goes directly into the campaign, which is a great benefit. For a $5 million campaign, you would probably never see this type of quality of materials. So Tony and the Titan Agency, thank you so much for your help. Want to recap year one, and I want to do it by category. We raised over $2.2 million in pledges, which is about 40% of our goal, and we broke it down internally, starting with our advisory council. 100% of our advisory council members have made contributions. 100% of our campaign steering committee have made contributions. 100% of our class committees have made contributions. 70% of our faculty and staff have made contributions. So the people that don't even have necessarily children here but are teaching all of our kids are very, very supportive of this. Within the BT community, we have about 30% participation. So I've been asked, how are you going to get those other 60% involved in the campaign? And I'm not. Because this isn't Chuck Oliver's capital campaign, and it's not Frank Moore's capital campaign, and it's not Paul and Kathy Cody's capital campaign. This is the Blessed Trinity capital campaign. And so many of you tonight have the little buttons that say, I'm a contributor, I'm in, or you in. We need the people that are invested in this campaign to reach out to everybody else in the community to get their support. I've heard from people, well, I don't feel comfortable asking people for money. I'm not asking you to ask people for money. So we're going to have a little game here tonight, right now, okay? So I want everybody that's here to turn to somebody on their right or their left, and I want to show you how easy this is. Repeat after me. Turn to somebody beside you and say, hi. I don't know if you're already supporting the capital campaign, but our family is. And I would appreciate it if you would consider supporting the capital campaign as well. Now, see how easy that is? But it really is true that we need the folks, everybody who sends their children to this school makes an investment in the school just by making the choice to send their kids here. And then we need everybody to enhance that investment. We want to continue to grow the school and make it special. And I think that when you're sitting at a football game, you're at a cross-country meet, you're at a play, you're at a whatever, if you look to with 30% participation, if you've made a contribution to the campaign, very good chance that the person to your right and the person to your left have not. So I would really encourage everyone to take ownership of this. Look to your right, look to your left at events and say hi. Don't know if you've supported the Capital Campaign, but my family is and would certainly appreciate it if you would too. So everybody can do that, right? Good. Wanted to go over what we have found over the first year, the three biggest objections. You know, everybody can have a reason not to do this. The first one is, well, we don't really support those projects, but I would support this project. Well, you trust us enough to send your children here. Trust us enough to set the priorities for the future growth of this school that will keep it viable. As I said, we have a $22 million shopping list, and we've prioritized them in a way that we think will have the most impact for the most children. So if your reason for not participating is, well, I don't really like that particular project, the project you would support is probably somewhere down the road, and we can't get to that until we finish this one. The second biggest objection we have is, well, times are tough, and my family's really struggling. And I understand that. My wife has been looking for a job for 3 years. So trust me, the Oliver family understands that as well as anyone. But I want to tell you the story of a mother we have here at BT who contributed. She came in and talked to me, and she said, I want to do 10, she's a single mom, and she said, I want to do 10% of every paycheck to the Capital Campaign. And even at that level, it's still not a great deal of money, and it's not going to put us over the top. And I talked to her, and I said, you know, that's wonderful you want to do that. Why don't you do 1%? Because I know you need the money more than we do. And she said, but that's not the right thing to do. You know, if I'm supporting this, I need to support it at the right level. And no, I want to do 10%. And I was kind of blown away by that. And I know if that mom can do that, everybody can participate. Now, why is participation important? Well, we're really only hoping to raise about 75 or 80% of the $5.6 million. The remaining 25% of that, we're hoping to go to foundations and get the money from them at the end of the campaign. The first question they ask you when you fill out a grant request form with a foundation is, what is your internal rate of participation? And if you have to put 30% on there, you might as well just walk out the door because they're not going to talk to you. So participation is the key. We need everybody to do something. Yes, if you can do $100,000 or $5 million, we're going to love you to death. But the mom who contributes a small amount of her paycheck every time is just as important from a participation standpoint. The last objection that we have that we've heard come up is, well, my kids aren't going to benefit from this. That's not what we teach at this school. We teach that we live in a community where we support things. We tell our kids that they have to do service hours. We send them on mission trips. So we don't believe that you only give when you're going to get. That's just not part of the Catholic faith or the Christian faith. It's not what we do. We do it because it's the right thing to do. I want to close tonight with another speaker who can talk about that far better than I can. Devin McGee grew up in Alpharetta and attended BT from 2002 to 2006. After he graduated, Devin attended the University of South Carolina, where he double majored in finance and economics. While at South Carolina, Devin served as president of the University Ambassadors and was a member of the university's International Case Study Competition Team. After graduation, he joined Bank of America in Charlotte as a corporate debt products analyst before being recruited to Atlanta by Morgan Stanley, where he currently serves as a financial advisor with a team that's focused on value-based wealth management. He lives in Buckhead, is an avid traveler, enjoys all outdoor activities, especially hiking and golf. And so I'd like to let Devin close us out tonight as a former BT student and let everyone here see the results of what happens when we send these kids out into the world. So I'd like to introduce you, Devin McGee, class of 2006.
Good evening. Thank you very much for that introduction, Chuck. As he mentioned, my name is Devin McGee. I'm a 2006 alumnus of Blessed Trinity Catholic High School. When Chuck asked me to speak tonight, I was honored, but I didn't know how to sum up my 4 years at Blessed Trinity in one speech. However, when I told my parents last week that I would be here with you all this evening, they said it for me perfectly. They both said that they saw a distinct change in me and during my time in these halls, and agreed that my 4 years here was one of the best investments they ever made. They said that they saw me grow not only from a 14-year-old freshman to an 18-year-old senior, but also mature academically and spiritually. I would say that Blessed Trinity helped me grow in 3 ways: socially, academically, and spiritually. Socially, I made lifelong friends at Blessed Trinity that I will stay in touch with, that I still stay in touch with to this day. Last year, I attended my 5-year high school reunion in this very arena, and this past summer, I went to the weddings of 2 of my best friends from BT. Academically, Blessed Trinity continually challenged me in high school, which prepared me for all the challenges of college. I still remember my freshman year at the University of South Carolina, feeling like I was well ahead of the other students in my honors English class because of all the efforts of the teachers here at Blessed Trinity. Most importantly, Blessed Trinity developed me spiritually and made me aware of the position my faith should play in my life. I distinctly remember when it all started to click for me, my junior year in Coach Kiefer's Christian vocation class, which solidified the Catholic foundation in my life. Quite simply, Blessed Trinity made me who I am today. The foundation of Catholic faith and education that was instilled in me here led me to the University of South Carolina, where I studied finance and economics before working at Bank of America in Charlotte for 2 years after graduation. However, the culture of service and Christianity that Blessed Trinity instilled in me led me back to Atlanta earlier this year when I accepted a job as a financial advisor with Morgan Stanley on a group that focuses on values-based wealth management with a Christian emphasis. Without the foundation that Blessed Trinity helped me build, there is no way I would be where I am today. That is why I am participating in the Capital Campaign. I realized that it was through the generosity of others that I was able to have such an engaging and challenging high school experience. I would like for you all to prayerfully consider a donation to the campaign with the mindset of paying it forward. Even though you might not believe your contribution will directly affect your student, it will improve the experience of those that come next, thereby increasing the value of your student's degree. We have a perfect example of the concept of paying it forward sitting with us here this evening. Linda Gibbons is originally from Jacksonville, Florida, and went to Bishop Kenny Catholic High School before moving to Atlanta in 1982. Linda has been a member of St. Anne's Church since 1984 and has seen all 3 of her daughters and all of her grandchildren baptized at St. Anne's. In 1996, Linda became involved in the campaign to start a Catholic high school in North Fulton County. With her initial donation and the generosity of those that participated in the fundraising, Blessed Trinity Catholic High School was built a few short years later. Fast forward to 2012, and Linda's grandson, Gib, is currently a freshman at Blessed Trinity. Linda is a perfect example of the paying it forward culture we're trying to establish here with our fundraising efforts. On behalf of all alumni, current students, and future Titans, I would like to thank Linda for her generosity and leadership. If not for her efforts, we would not be all gathered here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize Linda Gibbons and her grandson, Gib. With that said, I would like to ask you to all prayerfully consider a contribution to the Capital Campaign. Linda, myself, and the hundreds of other alumni, current students, and faculty members are proof of the amazing community that continues to be built here at Blessed Trinity. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, all of our volunteers and everyone. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. We had a family that stepped forward and said, they had been involved with the Kings Ridge Capital Campaign, and I asked, how do you get people to come to these things? And they said, well, we pay them. And they do a lot of cash drawings and that kind of thing. And so we had a family that offered to underwrite. They've already made a very significant contribution to the Capital Campaign, but they said, we'd like to put up $10,000 to give away as door prizes the evening of the kickoff, just to try to get people to come out and hear the message. So now we're going to draw for those names. So if you've got your tickets handy, I'm going to call them out. And the first one, 877-468. Oops, not everybody's got their tickets out yet. If y'all will come up on stage, we'd like to get a picture of everybody. 877-468. You come on up. Oh, what we're drawing for is 10 $1,000 cash gifts. Second ticket, 877-477. 877-477. Come on up. 877-474. It is shaking up. Okay, this was 877-559. Got an 877-559? Come on up. It's 4. 877-589. 877-589. Oh no, is that Ricky? No, that one goes away. Come on up, Ricky. I'm just teasing. 877-585. Eight 877-572. 877-422. Skip. 877-594. 877-594. Somebody leave early? Last chance, 877-594. Okay. Draw another one. 877-567. 877-567. Going, gone. 877-583. Our coaching staff is going to be really happy they all came tonight. This is the last one. 877-576. Okay. I think Mary Beth Dever wants to get a picture with everyone up here. So food and drinks are still available. Our volunteers will be out there. Everyone should have a pledge form. Please if you want to turn it in tonight, we will take it. If you don't, please consider sending it in as soon as possible. We have volunteers that are going to be calling everybody in the community. And like I said before, the way we get this campaign really moving forward is for everybody in this room that's already invested to take ownership and talk about it. So please do that. Thank you all for being here. I hope you had a good time. Sorry about the Falcons game.